Hello, my name is Jason Williams, CEO for the Society of Innovators at Purdue Northwest, and welcome to the Spark series, where we ignite conversations with innovators, entrepreneurs, and changemakers creating real impact. Our goal is to spark ideas, share journeys, and inspire action. I'm excited to welcome today's guests, Joellen and Lewis Matzat, co-founders of Lewellen Blooms, a small floral farm in North Judson, Indiana. What began as a pandemic-era gesture of kindness, leaving jars of flowers on doorsteps, has blossomed into a full-fledged farm and community-minded business. In 2023, Lewellen Blooms won the Starke Tank pitch competition, helping them expand with new growing infrastructure and a longer harvest season. In the conversation today, we're going to talk about rural entrepreneurship, the emotional power of flowers, and how small acts of kindness can bloom into something much bigger. So, Joellen and Lewis, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for inviting us.
Thank you, Jason.
Yeah, so first, you guys are really, this is the first couple, literally, and also co-founders we've had on here. So, first, share your story. How did you two meet?
We met at St. Peter Lutheran School in a small town in North Judson, and we were friends all throughout our school years. We did a lot of stuff together, like 4-H. But we didn't start dating until our senior year in high school. We just celebrated our 11th wedding anniversary this past September. So we've been married since 2014 and just keeps going.
Yeah, 3 kids and a lot of life and now business.
Yeah, I love it. Well, congratulations. Happy anniversary.
Yeah, thank
so that's wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. And now we want to sit down and hear more about the business. And I love this, story of Lewellen Blooms. And in a way, it was almost like the unintentional business. So, talk a little bit about, those origins of just, leaving small bouquets around town to now running a full-scale flower business. How did you recognize that there was, growing demand, or there was demand to make a business out of this and create a product?
We started leaving the flowers around, and we had followed a larger flower farm that was like from Washington, which was Floret Farms. And she kind of grew on the same basis of just starting small. And now she has like a large flower farm. We just started giving away flowers. It was just an act of gesture. It was 2020 pandemic. Everybody was just in their houses, shut up. We had just had a newborn.
And a lot of time walking around town.
Yeah. So it was just kind of just a thing to do. And then it was like, well, we enjoy this and this is nice for our family. Can we make this profitable and sustainable?
And it was so well received throughout the community. I mean, we have people who have been there since the porch drop-offs who are still coming to our shed and U-Picks, and we're so thankful for that.
Yeah, which has just grown exponentially over the last couple of years. And then on top of Starke Tank, just pushing it further and further now that we're in our 5th year of business.
Yeah, I love it. And Lewellen Blooms, as you mentioned, in North Judson and Starke County, right, obviously serving a rural market. So, along the way, what have you learned about understanding your customers? Some of their preferences, their habits. What keeps them coming back? You mentioned some of your original porch drop-offs are still customers today.
Yeah. We are so thankful for our dedicated customer base. And we have really taken what we see they enjoy and try to tailor what we offer to their preferences. With that being said, if they like certain colors, like pink is a big one, we make sure that we're growing flowers that have pink shades. If it is just like certain flowers, like we tried Lysianthus for the first year last year, and it was so, like, everybody was like, this flower is so beautiful. It looks like a rose. And we're like, okay, well, we grew that really well. So why don't we bring some more of those in the next year? And then we're not here to like gouge people on prices. Like it means so much to us to share our flowers with them. So we found the price point that works best, and we try to tailor what we offer to that price point, because it's so nice when you can go to the shed and you can grab a bouquet for yourself and a bouquet for your friend. So we take everything that we see and we try to make sure that we're honoring what we're trying to sell to our customers.
Glassware isn't like a thing that our customers really love. They just like wrap bouquets because most of them already have a ton of vases from previous florals and things like that. They just want something they can take home or give to a friend or things like that. So
Yeah, so really just focus on the flowers.
Focus on the flowers, right?
Love it. Love it. And again, this started out, in the local community, obviously, right? You just as an act of kindness at first, but as the business has grown, how do you balance serving that local community while you've also been growing your customer base?
We've learned that people will travel for our flowers. Like we've had people travel, from Lake and Porter County, which could be 30 minutes to an hour drive out there to come to events or just come to grab flowers from our shed.
We have our flower shed. That's what we started with. It's our roadside stand. It is open during the flower season every Saturday morning at 8 a.m. Not everybody is an early Saturday morning riser. Not everybody can feasibly do that with their schedule. So when we saw that and they're like, I just can't get there in time, we added in our subscription. So we have a spring and a summer subscription, and you get, if you're within 10 miles of the farm, you get free delivery. So that means once a week, you can get flowers delivered to your doorstep. You don't have to wake up early on Saturdays. You don't even have to think about it. It just comes to you. And we saw when we offer that, we can get those moms that can't get there because they have the soccer tournaments on the Saturdays, or the elderly grandmother who doesn't drive, but the family wants them to have something that brings them joy throughout the week. And we're getting these new customers, and they're staying. They're resubscribing for if they did the spring, they want to do the summer. So it's really helped us grow in that, but we're still offering the same things that people loved from the very beginning.
Yeah, but as you talk about, you're experimenting with services and different product, opportunities. You're adding new services, delivery services. How have you learned about running this business? I guess is that experience you had before? Or, how are you managing that side of it? Because I appreciate you don't want to gouge your customers, but you still have to make money.
Right,
to run a business. So
trial and error, truly. And then if we don't know, and we still want to do it, we're going to research. A lot of things I've learned about growing and what is popular in the floral world, social media. I mean, you can just get on there and I find these other farms and I see what they're doing and I think, how can I use this and bring it to our community?
The financial aspect, that's more my lane. We've learned a lot just dealing with florists locally too. We also deal with some wholesalers as well, and just knowing what things cost to them originally, and then can we undercut the market at large, specifically different kinds of flowers like this eucalyptus and stuff here. We can't grow that cheaper than they can buy it from South America or have it shipped in. But these larger flowers in front of you, these dahlias, they cannot get them shipped. They don't travel well, they don't handle well. So that's something Joellen and I can grow locally that they want and are more sought after, and we can grow for a better price. So that's helped us find our niche in the market with those kind of things. And then as far as we just add up all the inputs that go into it, and farming has so many inputs. Yeah. It's great. It's just not really a traditional business like most people will see with, you buy it for this, the labor's this, we sell it for this. We do a lot of work in the spring and we have a lot of inputs between fertilizer, tractors, fuel, land costs, taxes, all that good stuff. And it all comes out in the beginning of the year. And then we see a large insurge of cash in the later months. Okay. So that's kind of how we just have almost that cash flow issue. Farms have more of a cash flow issue than a traditional business of a month to month. We almost have to take a larger expanded view of the calendar year to be yes, this is profitable and these are sustainable practices.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. It goes without saying, right? Focus on the flower, that nature is at the center of the business and certainly your creativity as entrepreneurs. So how does working with the land, help influence your ideas, the business rhythm and really the sense of purpose for the business?
Louis' family owns the property that we grow our flowers on. So when we go out there and we work in the garden, when we have our kids there out there with us picking flowers, we're working the same ground that has been in his family for generations. So just having this ground that gives us a sense of purpose, it gives us something that we can teach our kids, get your hands in the dirt. What you do matters. It really just makes us feel wow, it's a full circle moment for us. It's not just our family, it's our families before us.
Yeah, and just pushing that business forward, just using the land for something good. It's not just sitting there empty, get these beautiful flowers. And our business is solely based around our family as well. Like we said, we have 3 young kids, and having them involved, it's more fulfilling for Joellen and I to be able to see them playing, see them pick flowers for their loved ones, their teachers, people they care about, to give them to people. It makes them happy. That we get much more fulfillment out of that than going to maybe a second part-time job or an office or things like that.
No, it's so wonderful. What an awesome experience. Not just for you two, the whole family. So yes. That's awesome. What's the most surprising feedback you've ever gotten from a customer, and how did that change your process?
I think one of the surprising ones is you don't charge enough. We get that quite a bit, which is great. You know, we're meeting them at a good price point, and it keeps people very happy. But it's also made us like really pivot and be like, wow, we did undersell this product. You know, we made money, but we could have made, obviously, you know, maybe an extra 20, 40% on that item over and over again. So it's just given us a look more at our financials and like trying to plan better for pricing and things like that. And worrying, you know, when you start out and you're just like, you know, you offer somebody a product and you don't want to tell them, oh, it's, you know, $50. Everybody will just say no because you think that's too high of a price. But really everybody's like, absolutely, that's perfect. Like, I love that. That's great. Thank you so much.
You have to remember, like I said, like we listen to our customers and we find what price point works best for them. So they may think sometimes we need to charge more, but we've kind of like, Louis is very, very good with the financials. So he knows like this stem of flower costs us this much money and this much in labor. And he's like, we can sell it for this. And so when we tailor that bouquet, I'm like, okay, I can do 3 stems of this, 5 stems of this. And I mean, the math really works and we still make a profit, but people don't always see that. And it's like, no, I promise you, this is like, if it's there, I promise we're still making the money that we need to make this sustainable for our families and for our business. And they get to enjoy the beauty of the flowers.
Yeah,
So.
no, that's
I
wonderful.
think a lot of that comes too from just, there's so much transaction with flowers, you know, with grocery stores, you know, they get it from a wholesaler, it goes to them, their florist has to work with it, then the store has to mark it up and it goes there. So 3 or 4 people have to make money in that chain where Joellen and I bought the seeds, grew the flowers, and we're giving them to you.
Right.
There's not so much markup in the chain. So
Yeah, no, and obviously, right, I appreciate that. I think that really comes from, you know, just the authenticity of how you've chosen to run a business. But I think what really stands out there is you really understand the inputs, right? You really understand the expenses and the costs. You know exactly what one of those stems is going to cost. So regardless of flower or whatever widget you may be selling, right, just knowing, you know,
Knowing your
the
costs
finances
is
so important. I also want to touch on what innovation looks like, because to me, you know, a lot of innovation is just, you know, how do you make yourself relevant for the future? And, you know, you shared this as a small agricultural based business in a small community, but what does innovation look like in a business like yours that is built on craftsmanship and community, you know, rather than technology or scale?
So a lot of the innovation I feel like comes from just pivoting with new ideas and doing new things and keeping the flowers like very fresh and relevant. There's always going to be new colors and things like that and varieties of flowers. But as far as like us personally and how we can use those, the U-Pick events are like a big one we started this year that's been awesome. Joellen does a wreath making workshop, so people come in and make like their holiday wreaths. That's coming up in November.
Yeah. And another thing we added in this year is I've talked about how we don't do markets. We were asked to do one locally in North Judson, and for people to come in and, I mean, we sold out while we were there. It was truly a blessing. Sometimes we don't want to, but when we take those steps outside of our comfort zones and add things in like the local market or the U-Pick events, and then we get to see that this is something that they want from us. Our customers want to be able to come out to the farm. Our customers want to be able to support us with other small businesses at markets. And it's like, okay, we can do this. Yeah. We just have to think about how we can make it work for our business model.
Yeah. Oh, it's wonderful.
And, you know, we've added things like we didn't have tractors when we first started. Okay. We finally got tractors, and now it's like we can use those to help people start their own garden. So we do like a garden tilling service, and we do some mowing. We got involved with our soil and water office this year, and we helped them do a pollinator plot, which is going to be like a grant-funded program for Starke County. So they're kind of spreading that out and about. So we'll be doing that next year as well. So just these little different streams of revenue has really helped us be more innovative.
I'm just curious, is there anything you would tell your younger self, knowing what you do now?
I would tell myself, learn from your failures. There are going to be bad years, bad crops, bad weekend sales, but that doesn't mean you're a bad business or that you are a bad flower farm. Take those failures, figure out why it was a failure, and use that to succeed next time.
I would say you got to just start. Like, you don't have as much time as you think. You got to start, work hard at it. No matter how busy you are, you can find time to do smaller tasks that are going to stack like daily wins, because the days are going to be long, the years are going to be short, and you really just got to get working at it, because soon you can look back like, Now we're rounding year 5 here. And it's like, I never thought we'd be where we are at this point.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, time flies when you're having fun, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's great. And then just finally, where can we find out about more about Lewellen Blooms? So are you online? Where do we find the flower shed?
Yep,
Yeah.
we're on Facebook and Instagram. We also have website. Yes.
LewellenBlooms.com.
You can go through our website. You can go through social media, but they go directly to us. There's nobody in between. We are the sole people running those accounts. So
Right.
we're happy to hear from everybody.
Yeah, whether they want to know about flowers, buy flowers, or if they just want to talk about the business that they've heard today, we'd love to reach out and hear from everybody.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, Joellen, Lewis, thank you so much for taking the time to sit down and join us on Spark Series.
Yeah,
Awesome.
thank you.
Thanks, Jason.
Yeah.